Rakkety Tam, Chapter 16, A Mouse and a Snake. Sneaky snake. Slow drifting clouds, banks past a buttercup-hued half-moon in the spring night. Somewhere in the distant trees in a night jar cured its nocturnal melody. At the south wall gate, Skipper withdrew the bolts of a little door in the wall. The mousekeeper, Brother Cordell, eased the door back on its well-oiled hinges. Skipper patted his niece's cheek affectionately. "Be a good young maid now, and watch out for Sister Amel and that sword, do you hear me?" Even Brookie knew that this was no time for laughter. She pressed her uncle's big paw. Don't worry, I'll keep an eye on them both," Humboldt assured Sister Amel. We'll be watching every day for your return. Go now, may good fortune smile upon you both." The little wall door closed quietly as two hooded and cloaked figures ventured off into the darkness. Amel and Brookie went quickly over the small area of grassland which skirted the south wall. They headed for the path which curved through Mossflower Wood. Outside the Abbey, everything looked different without the blessing of sunlight. Armel shuddered. "I've only been outside the Abbey a few times, and then not far, either gathering herbs or for picnics when I was small. It feels very lonely out here with just each other for company." Brookie stiffened a titter, trying her best to sound confident. "You stay close to me, and I'll come to no harm, pal. I've been twice to the North Shores in summer with Uncle Skip and his crew. I'm used to this sort of thing, you know." She tripped on a rock and went headlong into a pile of broom. Armel could not help but chuckle as she took hold of Brookie's paw. "Up you come, mate. Are you all right?" The stout water maid started up immediately. "Right as rain, thank you. Though I wish that moon'd keep still and stop dodging behind the clouds. This cloak's a nuisance, too. Can't take a step without it tripping me." They made the path without further incident and followed it south for a while. Armel began getting used to the dark. "Watch that ditch on your right side, Brookie. Hold on to a tick while I fix this sword." Brookie helped her friend adjust the sword, which was wrapped in a sheath of soft barge cloth. She fixed it so the blade hung flat down Amel's back beneath her cloak, away from prying eyes. The otter maid took charge of both their food packs, toting them easily over one shoulder. "I'll carry these. You take care of that sword, pal." Armel smiled gratefully. Thanks, mate. Friar Glislam said that he thought up some traveling rations especially for us, stuff that doesn't need cooking. He said there's a full meal in each piece. Oh, Bernard Setterhog gave us a flask of his recipe he's invented to save carrying too much weight. Brooke flexed her shoulder. "Feels light enough." "What is it?" Amel explained. "A syrup made of boiled down fruit juices and honey," Burlap said. "You only have to add water to it, and it'll make a sweet, nourishing drink. Good, huh?" The otter maid commented doubtfully. "I'll let you know after I've tried it. Hadn't we better cut off west into the trees? This path runs mainly south." Amel agreed. "Good idea. How do we cross the ditch?" Brookie suddenly regained her sense of fun. "The best plan would be to jump over it, 'cause we can't very well jump under it. Ha ha ha, here goes." She took a short run and jumped, making the other side with ease. "See that, Armel? I should have been born a bird, really. I just flew over. Your turn now. Ready, steady, jump." The squirrel maid took a short run at the ditch, but at the crucial moment of jumping, her footfall became snarled on her cloak hem. With a small cry of dismay, she plunged headlong into the ditch. Her otter friend came swiftly to the rescue. "Oh, bad luck, pal. Stay there. I'll get you out." She slid down into the ditch, which was deeper than she thought it'd be. The moon came from behind the clouds, throwing a pale light down into illuminate the scene. Armel was flat on her back, almost rigid with fright, as she called out, "Brookie, stand still. Don't move." There was no water in the ditch, just a deep layer of damp leaves and weeds. Right between the two travelers, a snake reared its head out of the scaly coils, hissing venomously. Wide-eyed with terror, Armel whispered, Brookie, I don't think it's an adder. What do we do now? Adder is a poisonous snake. The otter maid had been studying the reptile carefully. Slowly she took the rations back of her shoulder. As she did this, Brookie appeared to strike up a conversation with the snake. Well, are you an adder? The head swiveled to her face. I am death to all beasts. Brookie seemed quite fascinated by this declaration. Are you really? Well, what can we do for you, Mr. Death? The snake slithered toward Brookie, its forked tongue flickering. I like to eat things. As soon as the reptile had its back to her, Mel began inching her paws toward it. The sword hit. However, there was no need for any action on her part because of what Brookie did next. The otter maid smiled engagingly at the snake. You like to eat things, haha. Don't we all? Listen, we've got lots of nice victuals with us. You want to try some? She swung both ration packs with lightning speed. Whap! Smack! Thunk! Wallop! 4 hefty blows landed forcibly on the snake's head, leaving it slack, coiled to totally senseless. Amel struggled up and ran to her feet. Oh, Brookie, I thought the adder was going to kill you. How wonderfully brave you are, attacking it like that. The young ottermine looked up from the backs, and she checked for damage. Ha ha! Wonderfully brave, my granny's apron. You great fluffy-tailed buffer. Don't you know the difference between an adder and a grass snake? Huh, Mr. Death, eh? Amel stammered. I didn't know. I thought it was poison. Brookie scoffed. Just look at its back. The thing has a diamond pattern. Adders have diamond patterns along their backs. Grass snakes only have markings on their sides. Look. She wiped the unconscious reptile off the cloak hair. There beneath a layer of ditch mud, rotting leaves, is a black V marked zigzag of the adder. Brookie thought it was hilarious. Oh, ha ha ha, silly me, the adder after all. Well, the food looks alright, so there's no harm done, really. Except to Mr. Death there. He'll have a headache and should last him until midsummer. Let's go out of this slimy place. I never liked hanging out about in ditches. Amel joined in the spirit of the thing. No beast could stay gloomy for long in the company of the happy otter. Neither have I. Let's leave Mr. Death to his nap. Laughing together, they came out of the ditch and headed into the woodlands. They had not gone far when Brookie halted, scratched her ear. How will we know where we're going southwest? It's not too bright, and all the north and the southwest business. Amel reassured her. It's quite simple, really. The sun rises in the east, you see, so if you have it directly to your back, you'll be going west. South is off to the left, if west is straight ahead, so we'll straight to the middle course. We'll be traveling southwest, get it? Brookie shook her head. I'm still baffled as when you started explaining, so be a pathfinder and I'll deal with any hungry snakes we come across. They trekked all night until the dawn sunrays told them they were on the right track. Armel rubbed her eyes. She was feeling quite tired. Walk by night, the rest by day. That's what we were told. So let's make camp, have a spot of breakfast, and a nice little snooze. Does that sound like a good idea? Brookie grinned from ear to ear. Do you hear me objecting? How about camping at the base of that big elm over there? They spread their cloaks and opened the ration packs. Armel opened one parcel containing 2 wheaten loaves. She bit into one, passing her friend the other. Tastes good. Look at this cheese, mushroom, carrots, and onions baked inside. What's yours like? Brookie took a healthy mouthful from her loaf, which was sweet and rye bread. Haha, it's full of thick honey, chopped hazelnuts, chopped apple, and blackberry. Good old Friar Grinson, he's given us 2 courses in 2 loaves. Well, tell you what, we'll swap when we're halfway through them, and we'll have had main meal and dessert together. Armel found one of the drinking flasks with 2 beakers. I'll go first with some water to mix with Burlap's fruit syrup. There might be a stream or spring nearby. The squirrel maid had not gone for long. Brookie was dozing gradually. She opened one eye when her friend returned. Well, what did you find? Some water? Armel slumped down beside her. No, I couldn't see any around, but I didn't find something. The ottermine's glaze began drooping. What was that? Armel yawned. The path from last night, it runs straight with the direction we're going. We've been struggling along through the woodlands all night, not knowing that the path was hardly a stone's throw away. It must have southwest for a bit, so Miss Puddinhead, who said should take to the woods because the path goes straight to the south. The otter maid imitated a snoring sound. Not me, must have been you. Don't disturb me, I'm sleeping. Armel lay down, shielding her eyes from the sunlight. It was you, you great fat-tailed fibber. Good night. Brookie wrinkled her nose. Hee hee hee. Don't you mean good day? Armel smiled. Don't speak to me. I'm not talking to you. Brookie snuggled down into her cloak. I'm not speaking. I'm sleeping. Don't wake me, please. Hee hee hee. The day was warm and pleasant, heralding a fine summer to come. Butterflies and wood moths fluttered noiselessly through the tranquil woodland glades. Bees droned soothingly amid the small blossoms of white champion. The woodland grass, sweet woodruff, and blackberry. By mid-morning, the ground was dry and sun-kissed, partially shaded by the foliage of the big elm. The travelers enjoyed their first sleep outside the protection of Redwall Abbey. Morning drifted serenely into noontide, shifting the shadows as the sun began its descent from the midday zenith. Brookie, the more volatile of the two, awoke around mid-noon, with sun shining in her eyes and an exquisite yellow brimstone butterfly fluttering about half-open mouth. The otter maid blew it away and tried to resume her slumber. The combination of daylight and the growing thirst, however, kept her awake. She looked across to Armel, still asleep peacefully, wrapped loosely in her cloak. Brookie sat up, yawning aloud and having gusty sighs. The moment she sounds of Armel stir, she began complaining. Oh, it's not that a bit of use. I can't sleep any more. Her friend awakened blinkingly. Why, what's the matter? The otter maid cast aside her cloak and stood up. 'Cause the flamin' sun's in my eyes, and I've been trampled on by all sorts of insects, and my tongue's like a baked sandal. I'm thirsty, aren't you? To her surprise, Armel rose and began folding the cloak. Aye, let's go and find some water. I could do with a drink. They broke camp and walked within sight of the path heading southwest along the ditch. Before long, Brookie stopped and held up a paw. Listen carefully. You hear the sound of water. Come on, pal. It's coming from down that abbey. Down that way. The underground rivulet trickled out of the ditch side. Armel tested the water. It was clear and cold. She filled both her beakers, about a quarter full, with Burnaby Cedrigor's fruit syrup, then topped them with water. Brookie stirred hers with a twig and stood a good swag. Ha ha! Good old burlap, delicious! Armel also found the taste of the mixture very pleasant. They both drank each other's beacons and satisfied, both travelers feeling quite refreshed at last, ready to continue their journey. Brookie suddenly vanished momentarily, then returned carrying a long, thick branch. Ha ha! This is very thing we need. No more falling down ditches and fighting otters for us, pal. Watch this. Pushing one end of the branch down firmly into the bed of the ditch, she vaulted across the path. Hoo-hoo-hoo! Clever young me, eh? Come on, miss, your turn. She pushed the branch back to Armel, who took a tight grip on it and then swung herself easily over the ditch. The squirrel maid was both surprised and pleased with herself. My goodness, I'm getting quite daring. What would Abby Humble have said if he could see me leaping a ditch? Brookie patted Armel on the back. He'd have said, well done, right, let's step out now. We've got plenty of daylight left, and it's a good straight path. Between them and the pair covered a fair distance. The shadows were starting to lengthen as they marched down the path, which Brookie singing out in fine melodious voice and to keep them in step. There was an old otter who lived down a well. The truth was a tell like really don't tell. His wife was 10 young ones lived with him as well, and they dwelt there together for quite a long spell. Left, right, 2, 3, march along and step with me. Such an odd situation did you ever see? Then one frosty morning there came a good old mole. He waggled his tail and peeped in the hole. Come down, cried the otter, and live with me, for 'tis cozy and warm, and the rent quite free. Left, right, 2, 3, down went the mole into with his family, his wife and his grandpa and his old gibbons 3. The very same evening there came to a poor mouse, and wind and rain washed out his house. The otter took pity and cried out, "Come in, you won't take up much room, 'cause you look pretty thin." Left, right, 2, 3, the mouse went down right happily, with 5 uncles, 6 aunts, and a pet bumblebee. Then who should turn up but a fat little flea? He took all alone and sat at sea. He called down to Otter, "Move over a bit, 'cause I see a small space there I might just fit." Left, right, 2, 3, that's a tale my mother told to me, but I made up the bit about the flea, 'cause I'm a bigger liar than she. The White Fox Captain Shard and his 20 assorted foxes Ermine were sitting in the ditch side, sucking wood pigeon eggs. Furrow and Burgle, 2 of the foreign scouts, came to cross the nest, so visibly through the sensible oak. The birds flew off when they began climbing the tree, leaving their nests and clusters of eggs at the vermin's disposal. Shard's fate, Fritia, pierced an egg deftly with her Shard's mate, Frida, pierced an egg deftly with her claw and sucked it dry, tossing the empty shell into the ditch. The vixen winked slyly at Shard. "A good spot to camp for the night, methinks." Shard chose a fresh egg. "Aye, but Lord Gulo ordered that we should travel through both night and day to reach the Red Wall Palace." Freda snorted scornfully. "Lord Gulo, this is Lord Gulo's watching 3. Look at those weary beasts. You need some rest too. One night here will make little difference, Shard. Gulo need never know." Shard picked a piece of grit between his paw pads. All right. We here tonight to continue on the morrow." He raised his voice to the Ermine scouts. "Furmo and Briggle, take bows and arrows. Go to those nests you found and see if the birds have returned. The rest of you, find some place close to rest until dawn." Both scouts went forward and up the path to where they had found the nest in the oak. The rest of the vermin sought out sleeping places gratefully for the break they had been given. Shard was about to settle down in some ferns, the woodland side of the ditch, when 2 Ermine scouts came scurrying back. Both of them held paws to their mouths as a sign for every beast to stay silent. Shard leaped the ditch in a single bound. He hissed to the pair, "What is it?" The farmer rubbed his paw gleefully. "Captain, 2 creatures made coming hither, a stream dog and a tree mouse. We saw them before they saw us." Shard gave orders to Horse Whisperer. "All of you down in the ditch. Be silent and look to thy weapons. 2 beasts are coming. I want to take them alive." Armo and Brookie had finished singing. They were still stepping along very well. The Squirrel Maiden wrapped her cloak and put it on. It was as warm as it was this afternoon. It's not as warm as it was this afternoon. Then shall we sleep, do you think?" Brookie shrugged. "When we feel tired, I suppose, though we might as well keep going until we do." A slight sound from somewhere on the path behind them caused Emerald to look back over her shoulder. 4 Ermine, 2 carrying spears and the other 2 with shafts notched with bowstrings, stood on the path watching them. She tugged at Brookie's paw. "Look what's behind us." The Otter maid did not have to. 4 white foxes armed with sickle-shaped swords came out of the ditch to block their forward path. Brookie whispered out of the corner of her mouth, "I don't have to, pal. Look what's in front of us. Listen, when I give you a nod, we'll cut and run into the woods." Voice sounded close to the Otter maid. "Too late, Stream Dog. One move and you're both dead beast." More vermin emerged from the ditch in the woodlands surrounding Armel and Brookie. Captain Shard stepped out. "Take them and bind them tight." Book 2, The Warrior Who Gained a Sword. Looks like the sword of Martin and Rakkety Tam. Bye-bye now.